Okay, it is Saturday, April 23rd at 9:03 a.m. This is my video journal. I'm Mitch Miller, and we're going through my criminal and mental health history. Just in case a government out there wants to work with me to make the world a better place, give me employment so that I'm legitimately employed and making decent money that I can then purvey into other endeavors to launch different businesses I want to launch. So I thought of what I was drinking at the doctor's office when I went to my appointment after being irradiated or whatever by a satellite, being trapped in my house by my own father and a martial artist, two very powerful men in my life that I respected, kind of betrayed me and trapped me in my own home. I was drinking a big jug of cranberry juice at the doctor's office. I'd been drinking jugs of cranberry juice for about a day and a half before that to try to flush my kidneys from what I believed was being irradiated by a nefarious satellite. So moving on to the Czech Republic. So like I said, after that doctor's appointment, a few weeks after that, I worked out, had these physical symptoms, the convulsive tremors overcoming my body, the muscle twitching in the all day, but I was working throughout the day, so in the evening when I was stationary on my couch, I would notice the twitches, log them down. I have that log book. So I had these physical symptoms. I wrote some letters on my typewriter to different agencies, I think the Pentagon, because yes, I needed a medication adjustment. I was having what I can only describe as negotiations in my head. It was if a Hollywood agent was speaking on my behalf on this interconnected network of satellites that powerful leaders and movie stars and celebrities use to negotiate different things. It was weird. I don't have that anymore. I haven't had that for a long time. It was intense at the time, and I can explain some of it through interdimensional time travel type things and stuff you don't want to hear about, but supercomputers basically connecting people through different means. And I am aware this all sounds schizophrenic. That's why I haven't really shared it with too many people or anyone really. So like I said, I walked into the FBI without an appointment. I believe at this time I had discovered, basically one night I decided to Google my father-in-law. I Googled him and his building came up and this database came up. It was called the CIA database. It's Corporate Integrity Agreement, but that's how they had the link set up, CIA database. So I clicked on that, and it was a database of thousands of physicians that took payments from Janssen Pharmaceuticals. So I called the FBI and they said, you can just walk into it. I said, I want to report white collar crime because I believe that Johnson & Johnson was trying to form their own CIA or take over the CIA. And I said, they said, you can make an appointment. I said, well, if they have my phone tapped, how, if I make an appointment, they could have their inside guy in the FBI office when I come in for my appointment. So she was like, you can walk into the FBI office at any time during normal hours. So I did that. I went in with a big tablet with an interview I wanted to do with them written out on it. Went in, went to the gatehouse, asked to talk to a female FBI agent. He said, why do you want to talk to a female FBI? I said, because I do. So, of course, it was a female and a male agent, both in an interview room in the FBI field office in Pittsburgh. They read like 2 lines of my interview and said, this is the interview, so say what you have to say. I don't remember exactly what I said. I do remember specifically they asked me if I was on drugs. I had drank quite a bit the night before, but I was not on drugs. Might have been hungover. They asked, and then I ended the interview with, why I have convulsive tremors and after I orgasm. And they said, we can't investigate this kind of thing. We can't knock on people's doors. That's how we end up in the news. Implying that they would investigate neighbors to see if they put a device in one of the houses near my house to irradiate me. I think they could have investigated the electric bills of houses to see if the electrical signature of a device like that was around my neighborhood, but they didn't want to listen to me. They said I need to see a doctor for that and shoved me out the door. Didn't give me any type of contact information, nothing. This again is in early 2016, February, something like that. The presidential race is beginning. I do make an appointment with a neurologist. I do get an appointment with a neurologist. I call the FBI and say I am going to see a doctor. They didn't care. I met with a neurologist, and I believe this is all before the Czech Republic, but it might have been after the Czech Republic. I think the Czech Republic was in May, though, or April, so this makes sense. Met with the neurologist. She said she believed it was my medication causing the convulsive tremors and muscle twitching. She wanted to schedule. She scheduled a EKG and wanted a follow-up, which I never did. I took that as I should go off the medication. So I believe I did go off my medication at that point in early 2016. February, probably March. Went off the medication for the first time since I was put on it in 2011. I had formed a plan that because I was going to the Czech Republic to meet my wife who was working there for a week, we were going to stay for an extra 4 or 5 days in the Czech Republic, that I would try to seek asylum because I was attacked in my own home. I had no way to defend my home. I wanted to see if another government would acknowledge these satellites and their capability of attacking someone in their property. I also, in my letter to the Pentagon, had declared the city of Pittsburgh no longer sovereign land, that it was no longer part of the United States. Again, that was so that we could defend against satellites pointing down at the city, so that other countries could help get the satellites off of this city. from orbiting directly above the city where they could point directly down onto a property. If they were outside of the city limits, then it would be an angle and it would be harder to directly hit a property. There would be collateral damage. So I wanted to write a statement before I went to the Czech Republic, but I thought, what if they'd search my stuff and find a statement of me declaring that I want to seek asylum abroad, so I decided I'll write it when I get there. I did write some letters to the militaries of the EU nations, of some of the EU nations, that I wanted to pass off to a politician in the Czech Republic. I fly to the Czech Republic by myself, make it through the airports and everything, off of my medication. I have my logbook for my muscle twitching, and I noticed that during the international flight, my twitching became more frequent in high altitude. I had a watch. I was keeping track of my twitches the whole flight. Get to the Czech Republic. We hang out with, well, first of all, Hillary's still got to work a couple days. Her boss, Brian Schultz, is still in the country. He's going to travel to Germany or something before he flies home. I noticed when I get there, I had my wife's older laptop, not the MacBook, but the one I took to Europe a couple times. And I tried to log into the Wi-Fi in the hotel that Hillary had chosen, which was right near a Johnson & Johnson office. There was also a Pfizer office, and I believe Google had an office in the same building. Andals was the name of the hotel. I tried to get on the Wi-Fi there, and it did not work, as if somebody was blocking my device from accessing the Wi-Fi, and that's what I was going to write my statement on, I think, although I took a tablet with me as well, a paper tablet. Probably wasn't going to write it on there so that nobody could see what I was doing. I was all analog at that point to hide things, because I believe that all my devices had been monitored. So I can't log into the Wi-Fi. Hillary's able to log into the Wi-Fi with her devices, her phone and stuff. I checked with the front desk multiple times. They couldn't fix it. So now I'm in the hotel room alone with no Wi-Fi. I was going to research different places, or I was going to research where the Department of State was so that I could figure out where to go to seek asylum, but I was unable to access any maps or anything. I noticed in the heating and air conditioning duct right near the front door of this hotel, it's a pretty new hotel, a blinking light up there. I can see through the grate, but it's under a lock and key, the access panel. I noticed a blinking light up there that seems like it's on a Wi-Fi router up in the ceiling. So I don't understand why the Wi-Fi won't work in the room if the Wi-Fi router's right there. I also notice both nights that I can't sleep. And the thing that you need to know about the Czech Republic is a former Russian nation. There are wireless towers all throughout that city. That city is inundated with wireless waves. I noticed I was shaking during the day trying to write my statement for the Department of State seeking asylum. Couldn't find a place to sit and write without my mind being cloudy. Again, it could have been the medication, I guess, but could have been my theory was that they put a transmitter in the ceiling that specifically hit the frequencies that the satellite had inundated my brain with to make me shaky, cloudy, nervous, uneasy, and sleepless. They'd put a device directly in my room that caused me to do that. I believed that they could dose someone with radio frequency so that when they go to an important event, they could be shaken like this with a device planted near them. After Hillary's boss leaves the Czech Republic, I decide I'm going to go to the Department of State. I've written my statement. Hillary comes back to the hotel room. I show her the statement. She reads it. I say, "Can you help me get to the Department of State?" She says, "No, I'm not going to help you do that." Even though she promised me that she would act as a witness to my compulsive tremors after orgasm. By now we had been engaging in intercourse and she had witnessed the convulsive tremors. So I wanted her to tell an official at the Czech Republic that I was having these symptoms. She will not accompany me, so it's the morning of whatever day it was, I forget. I load up my statement and a couple other things in a satchel, and I leave the hotel and spend most of the day, well, all the day wandering Prague, Czech Republic, looking for the Department of State. I hike all over that city. I did find a police substation in Prague that I went into and I tried to seek asylum at the police substation in Prague. Spoke with someone in there. They said I have to go to City Hall or the Department of State or something. So I go to City Hall. I sit down in there to take a rest because I've been walking for multiple hours by now. I did manage to find City Hall. The guy comes out and says, "You can't sit here." I said, "Can you direct me to the Department of State?" He shows me on a map where that is, up on this hillside. I hike all the way up there. I can't find, all I find is an old gymnasium that's all broken down. Now in my mind, I have a partner that works for the CIA that's been communicating with me telepathically. It's a woman that lives behind me. She worked in Hollywood as a location scout. I believed that she had pointed a device at my bedroom that causes psychosis possibly. And now she communicates with me telepathically. She's my partner from the CIA. She's in Prague, and I believe she's trapped in that old gymnasium. Or something like that, I don't know. She's got equipment there, and she's trying to locate the signal coming from the satellite that causes psychosis. So I hike I find a television station in Prague, Czech Republic, with multiple big satellite dishes outside of it. I go inside of there and I sit down. Eventually a man in a suit comes out and says, "Well, how can I help you? What do you need? Blah, blah, blah." And I forget what I said to him. Something probably about seeking asylum or something. I don't know. Something crazy, you know. Yeah, I leave the television station, wander through some other little neighborhood, then eventually I make it to a modern mall. I wander around the mall, go to the bathroom. I believe I had there was a weird interdimensional time travel thing that happened in that mall. I believed that it was a weird Russian hack or something going on there. I sit down in the mall for a few minutes. After about 15-20 minutes, a mall guard comes over and says, "You can't sit here." I had bought a gallon of water I was carrying with me to try to stay hydrated. I wander out of the mall and wander through a bunch of yards because I think I've picked up the signal from the satellite. And I find it at it's starting to get dark now, and I find it at a grocery store, a small grocery store. There's one of those antennas that's just like 8 feet tall, those weird ones that are on like scaffolding, is on top of this building. So there's a grocery store and multiple apartments above that, and then the antenna. So it's like a 3 or 4 story building. I believe my partner's up in that apartment and has locked the signal into that antenna so that we can take it to the Pentagon or to the Supreme Court and prove that this signal exists. I go into the grocery store, wander around, and then I think I tell everyone, you now work for the CIA and they will compensate you for your time. The grocery store must have called the police. Somehow either the police come in and take me out on the street, or I am out on the street. I say something about the CIA and my partner's up in that building. They knock on the door of the building and the people say, "What? We don't know what you're talking about." They asked for a badge and I said my partner's got it up there. So they ask where I'm staying. Luckily I grabbed a card from Andel's Hotel, the hotel where I'm staying, and give it to them with the address. They drive me all over Prague, out on some back road and stuff, and the policeman was very nice, talking to me the whole time in English. They take me to the hotel, and my wife is down in the lobby. She's been worried all day because I was gone wandering, left her alone in Prague. I say some stuff. The police are moderating. She says clearly he's having a mental issue. They must have said, "Can we take him to the mental hospital?" And she didn't disagree. So there's an ambulance out in front of that hotel now. I sit in there with a police officer, and the ambulance takes me to this very old, couple 100-year-old mental hospital in Prague. They process me and take me to another building, which must have been like the minimum security building. Two ladies in that building are in the medical or the medicine area, like an office with computers and all the medicine in a cabinet. They're questioning me. I try to tell them that I'm the director of the CIA or something, but because of this satellite now, they're the director of the CIA because I'm trapped in a place and it just shifts around and keeps me trapped in different places. I think they asked what medication I was on before, and I said Risperdal, and they had a liquid form of that, a green liquid. So they asked me to take it, and I do eventually take it, and then they ask 3 male orderlies to put me to bed. So they take me into this room with a camera in the corner and some kind of weird, look like wireless emitting device mounted under the camera. They lay me down on a bed that has straps on it, and when I start to put up a little bit of a fuss, they hold me down, push me down, and strap one of my arms into the bed. Just one, because then I'd comply and just lay down. So they didn't strap me fully into the bed, which was good, because that would have been freaky. I fall asleep. I sleep because of the medication through the night. Plus, I hadn't slept in 3 days, so I pass out pretty hard for a good period of time. They allowed me to have my jug of water I was carrying with me in the room. The next morning, Hillary came. I was sleeping. They let her in the room. She sees that I'm strapped to the bed. Something in my head said, just keep sleeping. Sleep through it. She whispered and was trying to wake me up, but there were other people in the room with me, so she didn't want to raise her voice. I don't wake up. She goes. It was hard not opening my eyes and talking to her, but I think I had asked for a divorce at this point too, because I felt that it was her father's CIA satellite doing this to me, and I didn't want to be part of his inheritance, because I thought that's why he would be able to do this to me. After she leaves, they come in and inject me in the arm with probably Haldol. Pass out. Wake up a couple. I think they unstrap my arm, or I unstrap my arm. Wake up a couple times, drink my water, and then they left like a urinal thing. They locked the door and left a urinal thing. They used the bathroom in there. But I hadn't used the bathroom in quite a while because I was so dehydrated. I was critically dehydrated and needed medical attention, and I thought that's why they were put me in an ambulance to get me medical attention. But instead they threw me in a room with a half gallon of water in there and wouldn't let me out. Eventually they do let me out and put me into a different room. I'm allowed to eat at mealtime. I'm allowed out of the room at any time. There's a smoking porch. People are allowed to have cigarettes. They dose me with the Risperdal twice a day instead of just in the evening, like to help me sleep. So they give it to me in the morning and in the evening. Every time I go into the medical area, the medicine area with the office with the computers and stuff, I'm sure to ask what this is. It's Risperdal, what dosage. I think 4 or 6 milligrams or something at that point. Then it dawns on me, hey, look, sneak back into that room when it's open and look at the strap down device on the bed. Because when I woke up to get water the first time, I looked down at the strap down device, and where it covers the bed, it says Segufix, written in red, just like Johnson & Johnson. So later, a couple days later, I think, look that equipment over. So I sneak in, and on the little black tab that goes on the strap that holds your wrist down, there's a patent number, U.S. patent number, whatever. So I memorize that, and I go out and write it. By this time I had asked for pencil and paper, which they gave me, and I write the patent number down for the strap down device. Later, when I get back to the United States, I'll look into this patent number and find that you cannot find that Segufix strap down device connected with that patent number. Other than that, I was in that mental hospital for 9 days. I did some sketches with pencil and paper while I was in there, about 8 or 9 sketches, and that's how I smuggled out that patent number with my sketches. It was on the back of one of my sketches. The only other point of note is that we all, 10 or 12 of us, sat around a common table when we ate our meals, and we were allowed to have actual silverware when we ate, so there were forks and knives. Very different than mental hospitals in the United States where you get plastic stuff. These were metal knives, and you don't get a knife, really. You also don't get a actual pencil, you get a floppy pen thing. My mom flew over to help get me out of there. Hillary had to fly back for work. My mom stayed, and then a paramedic via my insurance came and had to escort me out of the Czech Republic back to the United States along with my mom. So we got to fly first class into Paris. In Paris, I was allowed to wander around the airport a little bit. I bought a pornographic magazine. I don't know why. I found a payphone and I tried to dial my wife's cell phone number into it, and it went dead when I did that. We were in the lounge at the Paris airport, and we flew back to Pittsburgh. Then the paramedic and my mom dropped me off at my doorstep, and that was it. He said I was told to just bring you to your doorstep. So I was back in the United States. I don't remember if I kept taking my medication after that. I don't think I did. I just took it while I was in the hospital to comply. I did speak with some physicians in the Czech Republic hospital. I think they were female, and I said at one point I wanted to seek asylum. Then after realizing that I might be stuck in this hospital for years before anybody came to talk to me about my asylum, I told them I'll get on the plane, especially after he started double dosing me on medication. I said I'll take the medication, I'll get on the plane, I'll go home. So that's my story about my mental health crisis in the Czech Republic and how I wanted to seek asylum there. Thanks for listening. Join me next time when I talk about my next mental health crisis, which happened after I fled to Denmark in 2016, but in end of September, as the presidential race was ramping up. I drove to DC and then flew to Berlin and took a train into Denmark. So hear about that. It's probably going to be another long one like this. But thanks for watching. And yeah.